Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. I decided to talk to you guys about the vehicles that I've owned over the years. Now, when I say vehicles that I've owned over the years, I'm only going to count vehicles that I've titled or vehicles that I've actually registered, driven, had insured, stuff like that. Let me go ahead and give you a rundown of that. Now, I want to do an honorable mention because I thought this was going to be the first car that I ever drove. It's the first car I tried to register and purchase, but during the process of the purchase, there was a couple things I asked the dealer to take care of. They didn't take care of them. My financing hadn't gone through, so I took the car back and dropped it off. And that was a Toyota Cressida. Man, that car was nice. It had a sedan stance, sat up a little bit. It was high. I really liked it. It had the same engine in it as a Toyota Supra. Pretty fast car. I did enjoy driving it. I drove it for maybe 4 days or so, something like that. Nice car. But they didn't get the financing straight. Deal fell apart. I took the car back, dropped it off, and I went and purchased my very first car, which was a brand new Honda Accord. Maroon, like the one in this picture here. So that was my very first car. I purchased it from a Honda dealer in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I drove that car a couple of years until I moved to Japan. I was in the military. I moved to Japan and I sold the car to my sister because I didn't want to transport the car to Japan. My next car I bought in Japan. In the US, they were Mazda 626. But in Japan, they were called Capellas. So in Japan, they have to practically rebuild their cars every 3 or 4 years. So when the car was up for a rebuild, they would sell it to us military people real cheap. I want to say the car had like 12,000 miles on it or something, and I paid like $1,500 for the car. Registered it there in Japan, drove the car for a few years. It was a 5-speed, real fun to drive. When I met my wife Diane, I used to leave the car with her as I traveled different parts of the world. And that's how me and Diane got closely acquainted, me letting her use my car while I left the country. While I was in Japan and had that Capella, I bought a brand new 1987 Volvo 740 GLE. I purchased the car, military sales there in Japan. I was stationed at a place called Yokota Air Force Base, and I stayed in Fusa, Japan, and I actually had that car transported from Japan to the United States. It was delivered to me in the Los Angeles port. I immediately drove that car across country and then back to my new base station in Little Rock Air Force Base in Jacksonville, Arkansas. So in 30 days of having that car in the United States, I put 5,000 miles on it in probably 30 days. So I was living in Jacksonville, Arkansas. The next car that I purchased for myself, used, because Diane was driving the 740 most of the time, was a 1979 Volvo 262C Berto. It was silver with a black vinyl top. I bought that car and drove it, and me and Diane went back and forth on driving it. Man, I drove that 740 GLE for a long time. I got out of the military service and began to sell real estate. I would use that 1987 Volvo 740 GLE as my real estate property showing car. Diane was driving the 262 Burtone till she got a little tired of driving it because it was rough. It was rusted. Somebody busted a window out. We had plexiglass in place of the window because you couldn't find a window for it. Custom size window. And then I bought Diane a 1996 brand new showroom floor Honda Prelude. Now, there was one day I had a friend, acquaintance that was working with me in my real estate business I had. She needed a car real bad. So I then purchased from my buddy Kelvin. His wife had a 1995 Volvo 960. She rode that car hard and put it up wet. It was not in real bad condition, had almost 200,000 miles on it, and I bought that car from them, not too much money, and was driving it. It was clean enough to use in my real estate practice. And then I took that 740 and gave it or sold it to that lady that was working along with me in real estate. I sold her that car for $7.38. The car had 400,000 miles on it, but it was still running good and it still looked real good. It was a clean car, but I got the 960 off of my buddy Kelvin, so I let her have that real cheap. Now, one day while driving my 95 960, had a car accident. I'll tell you guys about that. I got on the highway, I hit a tire on the interstate, flipped my car up on two wheels. I'm going down the interstate on two wheels. Long story short, the car had a little bit of damage. While it was being repaired, I bought another one that looked exactly like it. So the one that looked like it was a 97. The one I had was a 95. So I replaced my 95 with this 97 960. It was right before they changed the name of it to an S90. That car was spotless. I bought it with like 58,000 miles on it. It was 11 years old. And man, it was clean. Even though it only had 58,000 miles, the timing belt on the thing was 11 years old and the idler was failing. So I had to replace that timing belt and idler and things on that car before that thing gave out on me. I drove that car. Man, that car was nice. Drove it hard quite a few times. The next car that I purchased was my first yellow sedan. We called it My Precious. Diane named the car when I pulled up in the driveway. I bought the car online, had it inspected by lemon protectors, and went to pick it up in New York. The guy met me at the airport, drove the car back to Arkansas. That was the first time I had a high pressure turbo T5R. And man, after I got it all serviced up, months or so later, me and Diane took it on a road trip. Found out how fast that car was. Whoo! It jumped up and got with it. So after that, I bought Panther and sold the yellow T5R. I got Panther from Providence. You guys heard about that story. And I still lived in Arkansas when I got that. I found out that they had T5R wagons. I was shopping online. I found Panther online. I specifically worked a deal with the guy to buy Panther with the understanding that I was selling my 960 to buy it. So explicitly told him to let me know if somebody else bought Panther, so I didn't sell my 960 for nothing. So I had somebody buy my 960. I sent the guy the money to buy Panther. And that's how I ended up with Panther. Sold my 960 to get Panther. So after that, we moved to Albuquerque, and I was working out of my sister-in-law driveway, garage, whatever, and a guy that lived behind her had this 91 blue 740 GL wagon. That's when I bought Old Blue Eyes. Had that for a little while, and then one of my viewers, Sebastian, up there in the Chicago area, he told me about Queen Bee. Queen Bee was purchased as a car to flip, and one thing led to another. I got in too deep on that, and my viewers, you guys just encouraged me to keep Queen Bee, so that's why I still have Queen Bee. I've had other cars, none with the intentions of them being personal cars. So here's the rundown. A 1983 Honda Accord. It was purchased brand new. I moved to Japan and bought a 1979 Mazda Capella. Then, while in Japan, I bought a 1987 740 GLE under the military sales program brand new. When I returned to the States, I purchased a 1979 Volvo 262C Birdtone. It was actually a company car out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Then I purchased a 1995 960 from my friend Kelvin. Then I purchased a 1997 960 Volvo to replace the 95 that I wrecked. Then I purchased a 1995 Volvo T5R yellow sedan. I bought it from Queens, New York area. After that, I bought my 1995 T5R wagon that I call Panther. Then I purchased a 1991 740 GL wagon after moving to Albuquerque. And the last car that I purchased for my own is a 1995 yellow Volvo T5R sedan that is now known as Queen Bee. So there you have it. That's my lineup of personal cars that I've had. I'll make separate videos to share a little bit more about my experiences with those cars, and I'll link those in the comments, and I'll post those other videos later. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.